Hello, most guys of you probably know I am from Germany and I make a German Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter World Iceborne videos, and I am an absolutely Switch X main Science Portable Third, and in this video I wanna give you the reason for me personally why Switch X is best choose for me personally in Monster Hunter World Iceborne and Monster Hunter World base game. So I've created a table with pro and cons, and I want to tell you the points and give you more information to understand that this entire video is all just theory information, because it's not easy to include all that combos and PS4 video cuts in this video. This make too many work. So we begin with the first point. The first pro, Switch X is 2 weapons in one, and strictly speaking it's 3 weapons in one, because we have an X mode, we have a sword mode, and you can shell at a zero-sum discharge combo when you have gone into the end state. So you can adapt to almost any situation, and that's very nice. At the next point I wanna give you more information about the X mode and the sword mode. The X mode got more specifications than Iceborne, but first point is to say that the X mode have more mobility. You have a higher speed movement and higher range. This means you can reach heads and tails from monsters that you can't reach with any other weapon like greatsword or such other things. You also got an Iceborne and enhanced X mode to deal more KO damage. So if you press circle, circle, triangle, the weapon close up, and you can see in the bar the export close red. That means you will deal even more KO damage and flinch monsters. The next point I want to talk about is the sword mode. The interesting point is you have a 117 power with your Phials. That means, I come later to that, you have different file types, and from each file type you get 170% more damage. That means we now here have a Bear of Grinder 1 with 600 attack, and I want to calculate how many damage we can deal now in the end state. So we have 595 multiplier is 1.17. So that increased the value, the damage number, to nearly 700, and that is very strong. So you guys know the sword mode brings the real damage to this weapon, and that's very, very powerful. The next point is the Phials. There are different file types like power Phial and an elemental Phial like water or dragon Phial. Dragon Phial are very good because of the Elder Dragon seal, and you can have abnormal status Phials like here, like in the Bear of Grinder, the paralysis Phial. But for you, I personally think the best Phial is the power Phial, because your raw damage very, very high increases. The next. So the second point is that your mode can be changed very smoothly. That means that when you're in a X combo, for instance, you can press R2 very easily to put your weapon in the sword mode. The next point is reload function. that is not so important and not so usable, but you have this bar with a white line. You can see it's actually in sword mode, and when you put your X maybe in your switch X in an X mode and the couch is empty, the line goes purple. And when the line is purple, you can't choose into sword mode. And that means if you want, you can reload, or you can do some infinite wild swings to fill up your couch into a white bar, and you can now continue in sword mode. But that's not so important. The next point is you cannot bounce off in sword mode. That means you have an input mind's eye. Alter Leute, wie geil ist das denn? Ihr könnt mit der Waffe nicht abprallen. Das könnt ihr mit keiner anderen Waffe, jedenfalls im Schwertmodus ist das so ultra geil. Next point is you have a time to wait function, and that can compensate for missing blocking function. So the most people are saying, you can't do blocking with a switch X. But I personally say, if you have a weight extender maybe or a weight wido, you can easily weight some hard Xenoshiva blocks or such other things. We also have some advantages through Iceborne, and that's you have almost an infinite stable clutch claw zero discharge combo without a lot of sharpness. And that's very cool. In base game, if you have done an zero sum discharge, you have loosened so many of sharpness, because every hit from the zero sum discharge, which includes maybe 18 hits, you lose a lot of damage. And that new input, but it's considered that you have to be in an empty state, and with the clutch core zero discharge combo, you don't lose sharpness. So that means probably if you're doing the no-brainer combo, you doesn't need Master's Touch, and that's very cool. Kommt da wieder irgendjemand angelaufen? With the clutch claw, you can aim the target, maybe a head or a tail or a toe of a monster. You can choose it like for Safichiva, and that will make part breaking very, very easy. And even more faster. You can see in the last video I have uploaded some part breaker builds for Safichiva, and with the Switch X it's very easy. You can choose the part of the monster, you can break them some bashes, and then you have a tile around the early flows around the air. So the next point are some cons, but that's are not so important, but I want to mention it. So the point is, your sword can only be drawn with a white bar. That's what I mentioned. If your gouge is empty, the color goes into purple, and if you wanna unsheath your weapon, there starts a long reload animation, and that's not so cool. So please note that when you unsheath your weapon in a sword mode with R2 or RT, then it's important that you notice that the gouge is white and not purple. Next point is that in the sword mode you have just a little bit movement, like when you have a great sword. But you also have even noticed that the sword mode have 117% power. And the last point is that a file burst is only efficient with the stable clutch claw combo. That you can see that in that picture. You can awake your file, you can go into empty state, and with L and circle press triangle and circle and mash triangle for infinite zero discharge combos. Yes, and that is very efficient. Please don't do a normal combo. That means please do not combos without the clutch claw combo in conclusion with the zero sum discharge, so you lose sharpness, and that's not the best way. But all in all, I have to say that Switch X is the most interesting and most